happening in their life with Sandy's mom passing and with him working for the conference in Ontario. They're finally able to do a family Christmas gathering this weekend at one of their daughter's houses. So that's where they are today. And he will be here next week, though, to start on week number 2, which is under the title or theme that good marriages don't just happen. Today I want to talk about God's plan for marriage. I do have this pink insert. It's as close to color for Valentine's Day as I could find. And I thought I did pretty good. If you pull it out, you'll be able to follow along with some fill in the blanks, as well as you'll have some study notes to take home. If you're one of the small groups, you'll follow through with them during the week. And if you're not in one of the small groups, you can still join any of them. Just look through the list in the bulletin of the weekly events that are happening and talk to one of the leaders or talk to Clayton or myself, and we can help arrange something with you. But even if you can't, I encourage you to go through and think through these questions. I know that there are others who have done that in the past and found it very beneficial to have time to reflect on the things that have been taught about, or the things that they have heard throughout the sermons and throughout the teaching time at church. This week, as I was thinking about, actually I've been thinking about this sermon for quite a while, and so I had way more things that I wanted to say than I could ever fit into this time. So you'll be happy to know that I cut it back quite dramatically from where it could have been. But there are many ways that we think about marriage within our own church, within our communities, in our society, our nation as a whole, and also even more ways that they think about marriage around the globe. There are interesting things that we get to see and experience now that our community is growing as well in its differing cultures that are here too. My wife had the privilege, I'll say, of attending a bridal shower for a lady from Pakistan yesterday. She was invited as a guest of a friend who was organizing it. And if you're curious what a bridal shower is like for someone who is from Pakistan getting married here in an arranged marriage, you can talk to her after church. But really, when it was described to her, she said, we sit around, we eat, and we gossip. And so it's kind of like, maybe not that different, really, from what I picture, at least, ladies' bridal showers to be. But they dance, too. They dance, they sit around, they eat, and they gossip. That's what she was told. So maybe we're not that different. And I can tell you from teaching on marriage in Cuba as well as in Africa, our struggles are the same. And they're the same because God created us the same way. God designed us for a certain reason and in a certain way and for certain purposes. And no matter the color of the skin, the country we live in, the rulers that govern over us, we are still created and designed by the same God for the same purposes. Doesn't matter the language, doesn't matter any of those things. We are there. And I've also found to be true that there are certain things that are humorous as well across any culture as well. Sometimes the humor is a little different, but there are many ways that we perceive and think about marriages. In the last 2 weeks, really, I have the great privilege, and I say that with full sincerity, no sarcasm intended, of having my mother and father-in-law attend church here. So they're sitting right over there, and most of you will know that. And some people, all of these like mother-in-law jokes or father-in-law jokes, I don't get them because they're a great couple. But this week, last 2 weeks, he was sending me all kinds of text messages, and I'm not sure where they came from or what they were, but it was marriage advice is what he was sending. And so the first one came through about a week or 2 ago, and this was the text. It said, I think the time has come to reveal the secret of 40 plus years of marriage. It says, wash your face in the morning and neck at night. Good advice from your father-in-law. Another one came. It said, we'll see how red I can make him. He's doing good so far. My wife wanted a cat. I didn't want a cat, so we compromised and got a cat. And then another one says, advice for a happy marriage is the same as for living in California. When you find a fault, don't dwell on it. There were more, but I'll stop at those 3. Marriage humor is something that we can share. It's something that we can talk about, something that we can find humorous, but we do live in a culture that puts a lot of things onto the marriage relationship that are really detrimental. that tear it apart, that tear apart the understanding between a husband and a wife, that tear apart the kind of the fabric of what God intended marriage to be. We do have